I told Daniela what happens in the books. I was like, I gotta tell you. Like, you just need to know because you'll never guess.
Who are you?
Whoever you want me to be.
Don't say I never gave you anything.
It's feeling epic.
3 words. 8 letters.
I remember everything.
Hello, hello. Welcome back to Previously on Teen TV. We are ready to talk about the Summer I Turned Pretty finale. I'm Jillian Benani.
I'm Claire Wojciechowski.
Claire, when and where did you watch? Tell us all about your experience.
It came out on Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern. I started the episode around 9 p.m. Eastern because I got home a little late. And I was riveted for that full hour and then immediately texted you and was like, I don't know if you've watched yet, but here are some thoughts.
And I loved it. And I hadn't watched when you sent that text, and it was killing me that I couldn't watch it right on time. I am at a beach weekend with friends, which is very, very Summer I Turned Pretty cousins. Maybe I'll meet some brothers. Who knows? So I had to watch around 2 a.m. last night after some wine.
Oh, wow.
Which was quite the experience. Tears were falling after some wine, I will say.
I bet.
And then, I rewatched again this morning because it was so good, and I made everyone else in this house watch it. And I gotta say, there were, some of the guys were, standing behind the couch looking to see what was going on. They were intrigued. Very intrigued.
I love that move. I love that guy move when they're like, this girl show, and then they stop and they watch it and they're like asking questions. Incredible.
That was definitely happening. It was great. And I was a little annoyed, though. We had some Belly Jeremiah flip-floppers here, so I did not love that. But you got,
What are you going to do?
They got to listen to this and know what's right. I am so excited to talk about it. That was an episode.
I was feeling a lot of things during that episode. I had like a full disclosure, a stuffed toy, because I just like needed something to like squeeze during the big moments. So I was just like clutching this like dumb little stuffed dog because I could not handle it at times.
No, I get it. That was like an emotional episode. There was a lot going on, a lot of emotional moments, a lot of Taylor, which we love. Oh God, that did just like rip my heart out this episode.
It did. Same.
Let's get into it. I'm once again in my cousin's t-shirt. I'm at the beach and I'm feeling all the vibes. But yeah, let's start where it begins, right where we left off in the last episode. I mean, Conrad coming out of that final, just feeling good, so happy. We've never seen him that happy.
Never, not even with Belly.
Literally, he was feeling himself, feeling good, walking out of that final, and bam, like head-on collision, basically.
Oh man, that was rough. Even like knowing what he was walking into, I was just bracing for impact a little bit. Like, he's feeling so excited. He just got this pep talk from Steven about how he should shoot his shot, and then he just walks up on his brother and Belly, like not just kissing, but like going at it. They are really hardcore making out, and that was brutal.
They really, yeah, I feel like without the music to it too, and kind of like the wider shot that they showed, they really like showed them like going at it. They really showed Conrad's perspective in that moment, and it was rough. I thought it was really funny too. I was happy that they had him speak right away to them and like be mad right away. Mm-hmm. Because I feel like I thought he was just gonna like turn around, walk away, and not speak. So I was happy that he was really like kind of vocal and mad, very mad, and proceeded to be a dick for about, a lot of this episode, which I kind of loved.
I did too. Okay, thank you. Like he's being petty and immature, but also I loved every second of it because like I think it's kind of earned, and also like I would at least want to behave that way in that situation.
I loved it. I thought he seemed a little, I was like, is this man on the edge? Like, like he seemed a little psychotic at times, I will say. But I loved it. I thought, like, be a dick. Like, if that happened, Like, I can't imagine, like, what was going through his head. Like, he was literally moments away from telling her that he loved her. And
yes.
So, yeah, I kind of liked that he was being immature. Again, I thought that, like, he was going to just not speak. So I couldn't believe how much he was speaking then. So I liked it.
Yes.
You know what I didn't
I loved
like?
it.
You know what I didn't like? Okay, so in the moment where after kind of Conrad like runs away after he sees Jer and Belly making out, when Jer's like, Belly, you need to go after him.
Yeah, I was like, Jeremiah should go after him. Don't put her in the, like, she's already in the middle of this situation. But like at that point in time, I feel like the bigger betrayal is like the brothers than her because they're broken up. Like I would have been more upset with Jeremiah because you're related and he knows that Conrad is still in love with her. Like, he's addressed this. So, like, why would you send Belly off to do your dirty work? Like, that made no sense to me.
Exactly. I thought that was, like, a low point for Jer. I did not like that. I will say, though, I did like Jer in this episode. I feel like this was a good episode for him as far as, like, seeing him in a little bit of a different light. Like, when the brothers do finally start to talk, I thought that was a really great scene between the two of them. I felt like we were, like, getting a little bit of depth with him. So I wasn't
you see
Jer
him
this episode, which I feel bad about saying, but I just feel like I need to say it off the top. I need to say it off the top.
You don't have to hate Jeremiah to be Team Conrad. Like, you know, you don't have to despise him. You just have to... You're allowed to prefer one person for Belly without hating the other. But I agree. Like, I think he showed a lot of emotion, like a more emotional maturity than Conrad in some places. And I think he was very perceptive and also just, you know, trying to strike that balance of like, I'm not going to fight for her because it's going to hurt all of us too much, but also being very clear and setting boundaries with Belly about like, I don't want to be your second choice. I don't want to be the one that you settle for, basically. Like, I think he had a really strong showing in this finale.
Yeah, I think he definitely showed like a maturity that we hadn't seen before with him. And I think that is why, though, too, this show is like so good in the sense of that you can be on a team and, you know, want to root for Belly to be with, you know, a brother, but you still like the other character for the most part. I mean, at least that's how I feel about it. And I think that's when a love triangle is really good, is when we're a little bit like, oh, but, you know, we like him, like, and we like, you know, they have a different dynamic and we like, you know, it is kind of nice to see that. And I think that a lot of times in shows, love triangles fail because it's so obvious of who like she should be with. And I do think that in this show they do such a good job of, you know, showing the two different relationships because they are very different, and showing you know, the strengths of each brother. And I think that's why it gets like a little confusing, and I feel like people flip-flop for that.
I agree. I think so too.
The side note of Laurel in this episode was kind of making me laugh a little bit. Like, I love Laurel, but I'm like, enough. I don't need to see you at this writer's like night.
No,
like, not the time. We need to go back to the motel, see what's going on there.
I agree. We could have
like love Laurel. But
it just like felt so out of place in this episode.
I needed to put a pin in that, you know?
Yeah.
Like, happy to pick up with Laurel next season, but I needed the love triangle this entire time.
Agree.
I definitely want to talk about that Conrad moment where no, you know what? I'm going back.
Okay.
We got to talk about the motel, one room, one bed trope.
The best
This
trope.
is used in so many teen shows, and it's so good every time, and I love it. I love it when it comes up, and it is so like unrealistic. But God, is it good? It's good every time. I was dying.
It's so good. I mean, let's just name, it's in Dawson's Creek. It's in the OC.
It's in One Tree Hill.
Oh, God. And I'm sure there's more that we're forgetting. Those are just the ones that come to mind.
Yeah.
In my brain, I was like, who's she going to share the bed with? Or is it like a king bed and they're all going to, like, all three of them with, like, Belly in the middle? Like, I was very curious about how they were going to play out the scene. And then Belly's in the bed alone and they're both on the floor on either side of her. which is less exciting, but probably more realistic.
Yeah, I did think that was realistic. I was like, I mean, come on. One of them is not going to get in the bed with her. I think it would have been funny if all three of them were in the bed. That would have been good. Mm-hmm. I don't know if a show's done that yet.
Well,
so when they're all laying there, we got two brothers on the floor, Belly in this big-ass bed by herself. And first of all, I couldn't believe Jer just fell asleep. I was like, okay, no anxiety Jer over here, just can sleep through whatever, I guess. Like, no, did not like that. Like, if you can sleep easily like that, I don't know. I was like, not the guy for her.
No, yeah.
Fell asleep right away. Like, toss and turn a little. Come on.
He's not worried that, like, Conrad's going to climb into bed or she's going to climb out of bed. Like, he's not, like, wide awake listening for noises.
Yeah, no.
Come on.
Definitely not. But, when Belly and Conrad are both up and Conrad says to her, I didn't mean what I said earlier. I want you. Mm-hmm. For me, with that scene, I wanted more. Like, Conrad, please say you love her. Like, fight for this girl.
Right.
That was not enough. Like, what is he thinking? Like,
right. Because, like, I want you is it's a vague statement. Like, it's like, I didn't mean it. I do want you. Like, that doesn't go far enough. That doesn't express the depth of your feeling. And also bold of him to say that out loud when he doesn't know if Jer is sleeping or not. Jeremiah, he could be wide awake and hearing that too, which is like, not that Jeremiah doesn't already know, but I still wouldn't want him hearing me say that, like, if I were in that situation.
Like, say the words, I love you. Please, just say it. Stop saying it in past tense.
Yes.
I'm tired of that. Mm-hmm. We were in love. We loved each other. Like,
right.
Conrad, you're losing her. And you need to say I love you. And I wanted him to fight for her. And I mean, I know it's a bad situation, but, like, that was his time to step up. And I was mad that that he didn't. And I think, like, if he could have given, like, more of his speech by the vending machines or something, like, I do wonder what would have happened if he would have done that. But it's just, it's not Connie's way, I guess.
No. Right.
Conrad let us down a little bit in this app, I gotta say.
I gotta say, I was very disappointed when he reverted back, when he took it back and was like, I was kidding, or I didn't mean it last night, I was just pissed. I was like, you didn't have to do that. Because at that point, like, is he trying to, like, let her off the hook? Is he trying to protect his pride? Like, why at this point? And then you hear her, her voiceover saying, like, this is Conrad, this is what he does. He gives and then he takes away, which is just so disappointing because that's not who he can be. But she's sort of come to expect him to disappoint her, and that's just sad.
And it's so obvious that he does not feel that way.
Right.
I know.
Of course.
I was curious behind his motivation for taking that back too. I kind of thought that maybe we'll get his POV next season. And I'm wondering if he did see her and Jeremiah kissing in the parking lot. Because they keep kissing, when he is not that far away and can easily see.
Right.
So I am wondering, because it felt like such a switch from what he was saying the night before. And for him to take it back right away, I do wonder if he saw something. Or maybe he was like, she got up and he's gone too. Like, she clearly is more going to him. She's not, like, waiting here for me. So I'm just going to cut my losses, which is a very big Conrad move. He doesn't want to put his heart out there.
Yeah, right.
Conrad just has so many feelings. He can't put his heart out there.
Oh, I know.
Like, Conrad, you're disappointing me, but I love you still. Like, you're disappointing me, though. But I still love him. When he was wearing that white shirt with the, like, flannel over it, taking back what he said the night before, I was like, damn it, you're so hot right now. Like, I am still on your side. But why are you doing this?
I was rooting for you.
I know.
All rooting for you.
That's literally how I felt.
When I tell you that, like, obviously, like, we've come to expect these Taylor needle drops, but when Exile started, when she walked into that motel room, I, like, was clutching my chest, preparing myself for, like, something I was, like, it was so perfect, and I was not emotionally prepared for it, and it just, like, hit me like a ton of bricks, that moment. And Exile is a song I've always liked, but I've never, like, really, like, felt it until watching this show and that scene. And then I was like, oh, I get it now, which is such a silly thing to say, but oof, it got me.
I totally felt the same way. So I honestly, I'm not going to lie. First of all, I want to say I'm a big Swiftie. Exile is not on my list of top songs. I want to say it's on my list of like least liked, to be honest. But God, this is a...
You're not a folklore girly.
No, not... I mean, some songs, yeah. But Exile for me, I don't love in a Taylor song a man's voice, honestly. I don't know why. But that song was meant to be in a TV show. And it worked so well in this moment. When they're talking about the necklace... and it's like, we've been here before. Like, oh, God.
Yes,
such a good moment. It was used perfectly.
So good.
And I thought that was so great. I mean, should we talk about the other Taylor needle drop? Oh, my God.
Yeah, that one floored me, too. Whew.
That scene with Susanna was so emotional. I definitely teared up. Using Bigger Than the Whole Sky in that was just... so perfect too. I mean, they know what they're doing with these songs. It was so good.
Yeah, that song is a tough listen anytime. Like out of context, it's a tough listen. And then you put it under this scene of, I'm assuming it's the last time that Belly sees Susanna before she dies, and like, oh, and Belly's crying about Conrad and about, you know, saying goodbye, and it's, oh man, that was rough. All the way around. And
I'm glad that they included that scene. I felt like we kind of needed to bring Susanna back into it a little bit. Because I do think that she is, you know, a main point of like why these brothers are, you know, really going after Belly. And it's like, I do think a lot of it is like Belly has this connection, you know, with their mom. And I think that is such a huge like point of this show, and I'm glad that they had that scene so it's not like forgotten about. And it's also like, you know, Belly was close to Susanna too, and you know, she's hurting too, and I think that like all of their decisions and all of their like kind of messy moves that, you know, all three of them are making, is a lot of it is a result of like her death and dealing with this.
Yeah, they're making all these decisions out of grief. And I think a lot of the Conrad stuff about when he takes it back, I don't know if Jeremiah says this specifically, but he's like, I know what you're doing. You're acting like a dick so that people won't see how hurt you are, which is all that he did during season 1, because he was so upset about his mother that he just, you know, pushed everyone away. And so we're not acknowledging like the season is a lot about grief, and we see that with like Laurel coming out of it and Belly like, you know, trying to get back on the volleyball team, but like we're not saying out loud that like all three of them are making decisions so based off of the way that they're still grieving Susanna's death.
Yeah, they're really going through it still. I also thought it was like so heartbreaking in that scene when Belly says, you know, you'll be here. Like, you can do it. And it's just like, that is so something when you're young. You just like, no one's telling you the truth. Like, no one's being fully honest, I feel like, about what's going on. And, you know, you just like don't believe that it's actually going to happen. And that just like really broke my heart.
Yeah. Although I did love, on the other hand, the moment when, you know, Belly is talking about how it's been a month, but she's still Mrs. Conrad, and Susanna's like, don't hate him, and she says, I don't, and then she sort of reassures her, like, you'll come back together one day, and she means, like, all of them, like, not just, like, that the relationship will be repaired, which I think is sort of hinting at that ambiguity of, like, who's Belly gonna end up with, but, like, Susanna reassuring her that, like, it won't always feel like this, and, like, you will work it out, you'll work through it, which I think is important perspective to have.
It just makes me sad that they're not all like together now.
Yeah,
you know. But yeah, I think that it is like they'll find each other back. Yeah, the fractured relationship is tough. It's tough to watch. But let's talk Belly and Jeremiah. Are you Team Jellyfish, Claire?
No. I listen. I get why. I mean, I gotta be honest.
That was the quickest no I've ever heard.
I understand the appeal. I understand why she chose him in this moment at this point in time. I and I don't hate Jeremiah. I fully get it. Why she's pursuing this path, why she's going full steam ahead into like a relationship with him. And I think they did a really good job of showing us, at least in this episode, like why he at this moment in time is a better choice, or at least a viable choice. But like, I can't help it. Conrad was a dick in this episode, and I'm like, in the end, I want her to be with him. And like the candy thing at that gas station, it's so dumb. Like, it's so stupid when, like, you know, Conrad knows her favorite candy and Jeremiah doesn't. Like, it's petty, and it doesn't really mean anything, but it's enough to unsettle Jeremiah momentarily, that like anything he knows about Belly, he's knowing after Conrad. Like, no matter what, even if she chooses him, it's still someone else knew her that way first. And I think that's tough when that person is your older brother, who you're already coming in second to in everything in life. And now you're also like coming in second, sort of, at least sequentially, with this girl that you both love.
I know the candy thing means nothing, but also everything at the same time, because I think it shows how much that Conrad has really paid attention to her over the years, and not just when they were dating. And I think you're right. The competitiveness of these brothers already, like outside of Belly, like taking Belly out of the equation, you know, it does feel like Jeremiah has like always come in second place when it comes to Conrad. So, you know, you do feel for him in that sense, but it's like, I feel like you're just entering a race again that you're not going to win, Jer. Come on. Like, you're putting it all out there for her, and you just know that, you know, it's not going to end great, because they do keep throwing in the scenes of the candy, and they do keep, you know, throwing in, you know, Belly and Conrad scenes where you just know it's not over, and you just want to scream, it's not over.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ugh. I am also not Team Jellyfish, but I will say there was something about this episode where it was fun to see them together, and to see them like have fun together. I think it's nice to see, you know, Belly smile and have fun with Jeremiah. We have not gotten that with Conrad in a long time.
Right.
I did enjoy seeing them together a little bit.
Yes.
I'm not going to lie. And I'm sorry, their makeout scenes are hot.
Yeah.
Like, I'm here to say it.
I agree.
Have I fully flipped sides? No. Because I just, you know, I don't think that it's them. It's Conrad.
I agree. Can we touch on briefly? I love that. I mean, Steven and Taylor, I love them forever. I love Sailor, you know, forever. And I appreciate that the show is giving us literally like the embodiment of a team Jellyfish and a team Bonrad, which is a terrible name. But like, I love that we have like sort of avatars for those two camps on the show with Steven and Taylor, and they get in a fight about it. They bicker about it, and then that causes a real fight in their relationship. But like, it's something that I appreciate, that sort of acknowledgement that there are two camps, and there are you know, people pulling for both of each brother for different reasons.
I love that scene too. I thought it was really cute that, you know, I kind of love when a show is like poking fun at itself a little bit, and I feel like that's what they were doing in that scene, because people are so strong on what team they are on, and same with Steven and Taylor. And I will say I loved Steven's point, and I think that is why I am Team Bonrad, because Conrad challenges Belly, and he sees something deeper in her that a lot of other people do not see and do not give her credit for. And I think that is the perfect explanation of why I'm Team Bonrad. And Steven said it perfectly.
I agree. I was like, that is Jenny Han's thesis statement for this whole love triangle right there. I love that moment when Steven is like, yes, like, I love Jeremiah. He's my best friend too. They're both my best friend. But like, ultimately, you know, one person is a better match for her, and that's who she should be with. Yeah.
And I do think that Jeremiah is the easy choice. And I get it. Belly wants easy right now. She's been through a lot. She's been through it this year. She had a really tough year. Susanna, volleyball, Conrad, rough year for Bells. So I get Jeremiah is, easy and fun. And I think that that is what she needs right now. But I just don't think that that's something that is sustainable. And I think that the show is hinting at that a lot, too.
Right. And they, not for nothing, but they do mention, or Conrad mentions when he's being petty and immature, that, how many people, have you dated in the past year? And he's like 7, as far as I can tell. And like, whether that is, going to be a factor in their relationship moving forward or not, there's that sort of hint of like, well, Jeremiah loves everybody and Jeremiah is a flirt. And like, can he be focused only on Belly? And his response is, well, it's Belly, of course. Like, because it's her, I'm not going to, look at anyone else. But also like, is that, like, I think that's a little bit of an immature stance. Like, I'll change for you for this one person specifically. And I think a more mature take was like, no, you have to change for yourself. If change needs to be had, like, he needs to do it because that's who he is and that's what he wants, not because it's Belly and he doesn't want to hurt her.
Well, I think, too, Jer is pushing so many feelings down. Like, this guy's mom died a month ago and is like really chasing after Belly this entire time and really like trying to make it work with her. And I think that, at least like Conrad, we are like seeing these emotions and he's being a dick because he can't handle everything. And Jared, like, he needs to get these emotions out. I am worried about him. Also, I was shocked that Susanna only died a month ago. The timeline
of this, right?
I was like, none of these kids should be making decisions when the mom has just died. Like, what are we talking about? Everyone needs to take a minute.
So I had that thought because, like, Conrad breaks up with Belly at her prom, and then Susanna's dead before Steven graduates. And, like, at my high school, prom and graduation were, like, 2 weeks apart. And I don't know how things are done at other high schools. Like maybe there's like a month, but I feel like a month at most between prom and graduation. And so it's been like 6 weeks since she broke up with Conrad. 6 weeks to 2 months. Like that's a quick rebound.
In my head, I gotta go with the 2 months. I feel like on these shows, we just can't look too much into the timeline. But when they said the Susanna thing a month ago, I was like, why is any of them making like decisions right now? Like, this is a lot.
Yeah.
So we made some predictions in last week's podcast episode. And I am going on the record now to say that all of my predictions were wrong. I said they were going to come together for the 4th of July. Like,
you did.
I thought we were going to get like some happy moments. Like, I did make the weird prediction of there'll be Belly and Jeremiah scenes and Belly and Conrad scenes. Like, obviously, that's not even really a prediction. So I was right on that, but all my other predictions were wrong. And I said Steven was going to be upset. He wasn't even upset. How did you do, Claire?
To be completely honest, I do not remember what I predicted. I think mine were probably more vague than yours.
If I remember correctly,
Yes, please tell me what I said.
Yeah, I do remember that you were saying that she was going to end up with nobody and choose none of the brothers.
Right. I did say that. I said it was going to be an I choose me moment a la Kelly Taylor season 5 Beverly Hills 90210. I was wrong. But I did appreciate there was like a nod to that where at the very end when she says, I don't know what the future is like going to hold, but I know that it's mine, or she says something along that. I'm paraphrasing. And I was like, okay, so at least we get like the season is ending and it's focused on Belly, back to playing volleyball, back to like figuring herself out, which I appreciated.
Yeah, I did enjoy that ending to the episode. I thought that was good that we more just ended on her, and I really like that quote.
Yeah.
But let's talk about season 3. What are our predictions? What do we think is going to happen?
Oh, God, I have absolutely no idea. I do think that like we'll get some of book 3, But I hope, based off of my knowledge of book 3, that they really take it to, they don't adhere too closely to the plot of that book, because I think that would be unwise.
I agree. I do hope that they steer away from what happens in book 3. Okay, so we're going to talk about book 3 right now. So if you don't want to know what happens in the book, please skip ahead or pause. We will be giving spoilers from the book right now. So in book 3, we have Belly and Jeremiah dating now for a bit. We jump ahead like a year or two. I can't remember which. But Jer then proceeds to cheat on Belly and then proposes right afterwards. And they are engaged. And I am praying that we stay away from that plot. But I don't know how we're going to stay away from it, because it's a huge part of the book. And it's also something extreme has to happen in order for her to like see the light and go back to Conrad. Like, I don't think it can just be like, oh, me and Jer broke up, now I'm going to go. Like, she can't keep flip-flopping. So something extreme does have to happen. I just hope it's not this engagement getting married. I can't. I don't like the young, like, I mean, she probably won't be a teen anymore, but just like young 20s teen engagement. I don't want to see it.
No, I agree. And you read the book. I didn't read it, but I did learn what happened in the book. And I don't want a child bride. Like, I just don't think we need it. I think there are ways that they can break up. Like, I don't necessarily want him to cheat either, but I think that, like, if that's the route they decide to go, maybe like he just cheats and that's how they break up. Or I don't know, maybe they just good old fashioned, like they grow apart, like they lose interest, they stop prioritizing each other. I don't know. Like, I would hate a situation where they date for a while, they break up, and then there's time passes where she's just fully single, not talking to either of them again. And then maybe she and Conrad start talking. I don't know. I'm just throwing ideas out there.
I know.
Jenny Han is a smart woman. I'm sure her and the writers will figure it out. But yeah, I don't need a marriage for a book that started when the protagonist was 15. No, thank you.
I agree. It just feels, and I really do not want the Jared cheating, because I just think that that's like a cheap like plot device. Like, I think if you're going to go
Agreed.
with one, maybe do the engaged storyline. Like, I'd rather have that than the Jared cheating, because I just didn't even really think it made that much sense in the book. But I do think that they'll need to do something pretty, like, something has to bring them all together in the next season. So, you know, I hope it's not this like engagement soon to be wedding, but I do think that did create a lot of conflict in the book. And I got to say, I did not put that book down. I was like, I got to know what's happening next.
Okay.
So I'm a little torn, because I know I don't want that plot device, but I kind of like the drama. So I don't know. I'm torn. But I wouldn't be shocked if they steer away from that in season 3. I think that they've, Jenny Han has alluded that she's going to, update the books from when they were written. So I wouldn't be shocked if it's a different storyline in season 3, but we will see.
Yeah, I'm hoping that the final results of the books is preserved, but the path that we take to get there changes drastically. That is my hope.
Exactly. So I do predict something is going to bring them all together for the summer, because obviously things are strained with Conrad. He'll be in Stanford. So I feel like he will definitely, be much more distant from the group. So I do think we need some form of like big event that is like bringing everybody like to the beach house for the summer. Mm-hmm. I don't know what that will be. But I truly cannot wait for season 3.
I mean, it's going to be so long, unfortunately, I fear, until we get it. But until then, I'm just going to be rewatching 1 and 2 over and over again. Because
You know what I'm excited about in season 3? Conrad being all sad and moody and in love with Belly.
His floppy hair.
I mean, that is going to be so hot when he is like pining after her. Like, that is what I want to see in my teen shows. When the guy then falls for the girl harder and they are pining after her. I mean, there is nothing better than that. It is good TV every time, and we love it because she liked him more at first, and now it's reversed. And I am very excited to get that.
Yeah, I want a longing stare from across the room while a sad song plays underneath it. Oh,
we're gonna get.
I'm ready for it.
We're gonna get so many longing stares. We're gonna get. I feel like we're gonna get so many scenes of like them together, and we're just gonna see that chemistry and that spark with them. And I just know it's gonna be so good. I feel like we're gonna get a lot of Conrad's POV. We're gonna see that hair, those baby blue eyes, just staring at her, and it is gonna be hot, and I can't wait.
I feel like you keep mentioning that, like your desire for Conrad's POV. You've mentioned it a couple times now.
So I've mentioned this a couple times. I've made multiple Instagram videos about this, and people have been dragging me in the comments saying, that's not coming till season 3. That's not coming till season 3. I'm sorry. I thought that it would happen in season 2. I want Conrad's POV because I think there's just a lot going on there. And I want to hear more from him. There are deep feelings there. There's so much going on. Like, we just need to hear more. And I feel like there's so many things that he's like seeing, and I want his POV on it. I want a Conrad narration. That's what I need. I need that.
That's fair. We had one from Jeremiah this season, unexpectedly. So I feel like all things being equal, if you're trying to, weight these brothers equally, we should get Conrad's POV. And I know that we've talked about this too, whereas in the books, it's harder to see the full picture of the triangle because it's only Belly's perspective in the books. And so you're sort of wondering, like, does Conrad like her? Why does she like him? Because you don't see his side of things where he actually is pining for her. And I think that, the TV show allows us to see his point of view a little bit, just visually, but a full POV Conrad narrated episode would really give us, the full perspective.
That's exactly it. Because when I was reading the books, I really wanted to know more of what Conrad was thinking, because I was like, this is so confusing. Does he even like her? And I feel like we do get so much more with the show. And I'm like, I want even more. Jared got a POV up. Let's get a Conrad one. I don't know why we had to wait till season 3. There was also a clip of him, I think in the trailer, I'm not sure I saw it in social media, but he's in the Cousins t-shirt. And he is like lingering outside of like Jeremiah's room. And I believe it's supposed to be the scene where Belly is telling Jeremiah that she kissed Conrad. So in the first episode of season 2. So that's why I thought we were going to get like his point of view of like listening in on that conversation and a little bit more of his side of things. Mm-hmm. But I guess we're going to have to wait till season 3. I was wrong. Drag me.
Now, listen, you took a shot. You shot your shot, and we can't fault anyone for doing that.
If there's anything Connie's taught me, it's to shoot your shot. Mm-hmm. Thank you, everyone, so much for listening. We hope you enjoyed The Summer I Turned Pretty season 2 finale as much as we did. We loved it. We won't be able to stop talking about it. Stick around. Next week, we will be talking all about the OC. We are going back to California, going back to our roots. We cannot wait to talk all things Seth Cohen. So be sure to tune in next week. You can follow us on Instagram at @previously_teamtv and send us all your thoughts on the episode. We want to know what you're thinking too.
Thanks for listening.